If positive thinking worked, you would be healed by now. Welcome back to the Broken to Brave podcast. I know that can feel a little like, ooh, to hear because part of you knows it's true. And if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you are aware. You're thoughtful, you're reflective, you're self-aware. You know when you're catastrophizing. You know when you're spiraling. You know when your thoughts are irrational. And yet, your body still reacts. Maybe your chest tightens up, your stomach drops, your breathing changes, you get sweaty, your heart races, even when you know you're safe, even in situations where you're like, clearly this is a trigger and everything's fine. And over time, the gap between what's happening and knowing that you're safe, it may do something subtle but impactful in a negative way. It might erode your confidence. It might make you question yourself or question your strength. It might make you feel like your body's against you. It might make you wonder, why can't I just handle this like a normal person? And so today, I just want to talk about why positive thinking isn't fixing your anxiety. And that has nothing to do with you, the kind of person you are, how you handle your life. You show up. You carry responsibility. I mean, I'm assuming if you're like most, yes, you're not just laying on the couch doing absolutely nothing. And you probably help other people through hard moments and maybe pride yourself on being emotionally intelligent. And yet that is why this might feel so frustrating, because you feel like you know better. But knowing better hasn't changed how your body reacts. So let's call it out. What have you tried? Self-talk, telling yourself you're fine, calm down, this is irrational. Maybe you've thought, why can't I get a handle on this? Why can't I be a normal person? And maybe even there's a part of you that feels like you hate your body. You're wishing that it were different, that it would react different. Maybe you've tried therapy, understanding your childhood, naming your triggers. You might have been on meditation apps and guided affirmations and visualizations and breathing techniques. And maybe those you're like, yeah, they sometimes work, but maybe sometimes they spike your anxiety more. You've read books, you listen to podcasts, heck, you're listening to one now. You've taken notes. Maybe you feel like you've tried all the things. You feel like you know better. And that's such a common experience, but you don't always feel better. And maybe more so lately, you're not feeling better quite often. And if that makes you question yourself, I want you to know I have seen it time and time again, and I have felt it myself. And here's something that I want you to know. The thinking brain cannot overpower a survival response. So often people are trying to approach their anxiety with their mind, with cognitive tools, but it can't override a dysregulated nervous system, because your nervous system runs faster, and I mean much faster than your thoughts. Before your conscious mind has a chance to evaluate the situation, your body already decided it doesn't feel safe. Or it does feel safe in another situation. And once that alarm is sounding, your thinking brain, it's no longer in charge. Heck, it's, off in another country. I'm sure you've felt that before. And so you can say all the positive affirmations you want to yourself, but if you have a smoke alarm going off, screaming, shouting affirmations at it isn't going to do any good, is it? No, it doesn't change it. You can't argue with it. If your body is in protection mode, it won't feel convincing, even if you change your thoughts. And this is why positive thinking doesn't work long term. You might have experienced temporary changes or shifts where you're like, well, it seemed to work this time or that time, and maybe it calmed the mind. But long term, no, the alarm system that's going off underneath hasn't recalibrated. So the anxiety returns. And it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because you're starting in the wrong place. And I know the frustration that you have probably been experiencing. You might have thought things like, gosh, it just seems like this is so irrational. But when I tell people, they don't get it. They have no idea what I'm going through. And I know I've handled harder things in the past, but lately I just can't. Or I know nothing bad is going to happen. I've checked with the doctors, but that didn't change anything. I know I shouldn't feel this way. Have you thought that? Have you said that out loud? Underneath all that knowing, there's shame. Because you assume that awareness equals control, but awareness doesn't equal regulation. And so understanding your anxiety doesn't automatically change your nervous system's baseline response. Now, I know positive thinking can feel empowering. If I change my thoughts, I can change my experience. That sounds great. And there is truth in that, 100%. Thoughts do influence your experience, but they're not where we start when anxiety is already activated. They're not where we start when you have been in fight or flight, when your chest is automatically tightening and your throat is closing and your heart is racing. It's not a thinking problem. It's a body response. And if you're resonating with this, you've been trying to think your way out of a nervous system response. Okay. And what that does is it keeps you in management mode. And I have women come in all the time where they have been trying to manage their anxiety and they set goals in the beginning. And one in particular is standing out and she's like, yeah, I just want to be able to manage my panic attacks. I'm like, no. We're going to be done with those. And in fact, just a few months later, she's no longer having panic attacks. I'm going to raise the bar when you don't set it high enough. Now, like I said, if you can relate to this, you probably have become very skilled at coping and at distracting yourself and at reassuring and maybe pushing through life, white knuckling. If you think about, okay, what exactly is managing? It is the idea that you have to stay ahead of it. When we recalibrate, it doesn't escalate like it used to. Imagine that for yourself. That is what's possible when you start with the body. And managing, as you know, I know I don't have to tell you, it requires that constant effort. Rewiring, recalibrating your nervous system changes the baseline. And I want to be really clear here. When I work with clients to recalibrate their nervous system, we are not doing generic approaches. I'm using data from your body to inform what we are going to do over a 10-week period to recalibrate your nervous system. Okay? And so when we start in the body, because anxiety starts in the body, healing begins, right? If anxiety starts in the body, healing has to begin in the body. Not by suppressing sensations, not by fighting them, not by resisting them, not by pretending that they're not there, but retraining the system and recalibrating it so that it no longer interprets a neutral experience as a threat. And earlier when I said, like, why can't I just react like a normal person? Many of you, maybe even you listening, you've probably thought that. A neutral experience, you want to be able to respond neutrally to it. Because when your body feels safe, your thoughts naturally change. You don't have to wrestle with them. They just soften on their own because you're not in fight or flight anymore, okay? You're not resisting what's happening in your body constantly. And your mind going, to quote my 7, almost 8-year-old, cuckoo bananas. Okay, so if you have been trying positive thinking for years and you still feel stuck, it's not because you're incapable. Probably you've tried the methods, the tools, the resources that were given to you, and they were designed for a mind-first approach, while your nervous system's just been running the show. And so I hope now that you're seeing things a bit differently so you can stop blaming yourself. You can stop trying to work harder to calm yourself down and start focusing on the system that actually needs the recalibration. I promise you don't need more insight. You don't need to try to think in a more positive way. You don't need to force yourself to override your body. You just need a nervous system that's not escalating easily in the first place. And that is exactly what I do with clients inside of Brave Academy. Now, we don't just talk about anxiety, as you know. We're going to start with the body first, using data from your individual body to recalibrate your nervous system so that you can overcome anxiety and panic attacks, and they're no longer your regular day-to-day experience. If you're ready to move beyond positive thinking and you want to chat about Academy and see if you're a good fit for it, send me a DM on Instagram or on Facebook with the word Academy, and we'll go from there, because you truly deserve this, even if part of you is questioning that. I'll see you next Tuesday.